it's always something simple, I think,
It's normally.
Yeah.
It's good to chat. Good to see
Yeah.
you.
You too. Thank you. It's a cool go-kart.
Yeah, so I started building that quite a wee while ago. So we have a CNC router here. I've got a sign writing company, so I've got a CNC router and a laser cutter. So I wanted to play around with 3D molds because my brother-in-law has a fiberglass company. So luckily found a 3D model of a 993 RWB. And when I was in Japan, when I went to Nakai's workshop, I got to see, it hasn't actually got the sticker on this side, but it's got on the other side. I got to see Spearmint Rhino in person, back in its backdated state of it being matte white, different number plates, different kind of styling and stuff. And it actually had a flat tire. So I got to see Nakai repair it. So he turned up from the airport in it, but it had a flat tire. So I seen that car in person. I was just like, it's perfect because the gel coat's matte white. It's convertible, so I can get in and out of it quite easily. Everyone comes to me say, your kids must love you, and I go, I don't have any kids. That's for me. I'm the big kid here. So
Yeah, I love it.
It's just got a 6.5 horsepower Honda engine, air-cooled engine in the back. That's just sort of getting the final stages, being connected up and it's mounting the body properly. And yeah, it's just got a go-kart seat in it, and it's about 59% scale, so it's about 2.4 meters long. So it's probably a bit bigger than your typical Power Wheels sort of size car. So
how far back is that from you? Can you touch it right now, or is it a few feet behind you? Oh, okay.
So yeah, it's they're a 10-inch. It's a 10-inch wheel. They're actually ATV wheels, so they're a 10 by 8 with a 205/30/10 tire on it. So.
Okay. Yeah, because from here, like when you're standing or sitting here, it looks like you've just got cubicles. And so I thought it was maybe like a 1/8 scale or 1/10 or something.
Yeah. I'll send you some photos of me just sitting in a bare shell for size reference and stuff. So
yeah.
So I've got there's a vacuum formed window I haven't fitted in for it, so it's been sitting at a friend's place that owed me some fabrication work. So we've done a bit of trade off on it. So it'll go back to him probably next week, and he'll go back to tinkering with it. But I just wanted to make a couple of wee bits for it. But even done a positive and negative die on the CNC and actually pressed the number plate. So the number plate's actually alloy and it's actually stamped, and then it's just wrapped in vinyl. So even the number plate's embossed with the little wee green reflective tape. So that's the plate he originally had on it. So he explained to me the personal reason. It's a kind of a Japanese personalized plate. He explained to me the personal reason for the plate, but it's not public.
That's fine.
I can't say why, but I mean, it's since had because it had 2 plates on it, and I asked him, I said, which plate should I put on this? And he said the older one. So yeah, it's been a bit of a fun, wee, cool project to kind of tinker with while I'm kind of trying to sort out. I'm in the same boat as you. I've got a car to do a build with, so mine's been a very kind of drawn out process.
Well, introduce yourself then, and I'm guessing by your voice, people know that you're probably not from like Brooklyn.
No. Yeah. So my name's Lance Streeter. I'm from New Zealand. So New Zealand's got 2 main islands, the South Island and the North Island. So I live in the South Island. So Nan and Aaron Mai and like Lawrence Chalk and all the rest of the Anthony Wong, all those guys are all on the North Island of New Zealand, and I'm based down here in the South Island. So I think once I actually get to mine built, it may be the southernmost RWB in the world, because I think New Zealand's we're quite low down here. So we get the extreme weather, and
you get snow and stuff there, right?
Not at the coast, but in central New Zealand, there's a lot of snow, and it's sort of around Queenstown sort of area. Sort of Queenstown's our sort of Las Vegas of New Zealand. It's sort of where all the tourists come, and it's just amazing and fun, and there's just bungee jumping and just heaps of just crazy, like, beautiful scenery, and yeah, it's just a real kind of lively tourist sort of party town. It's, yeah, we all go there if we want to have a big night out. So if you're over Central Way, I've got a live-in warehouse over that way as well. So back over that way, yeah, it's really, really hot, like 40 degrees. Well, it's not really hot compared to some countries, but yeah, like high 30s, or it's snowing. So
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I've never been down there. That's kind of a part of the world I've always wanted to go to, and I just, for whatever reason, haven't made it out there. And
yeah, it's pretty beautiful over here. We're pretty lucky to have this place. It's similar to certain parts of America and Canada, like scenery wise, just really beautiful, stunning lakes and mountains and the likes. So
yeah,
we're only like between 4 and 5 million people, and probably I think 4 million of those people in the North Island. So the South Island's it's not very densely populated. Like I think the biggest town here might have a couple 100,000 people. The town that my signwriting workshop is based here, it's about 11,000 people, so it's actually pretty small. Yeah, so it's quaintly quiet place, really.
So what do you guys do at your workshop then? Tell me about that, because I think that's kind of how I learned about you, because I believe that you did badges for Joe DiCarlo. Is that right?
I've done badges for some of the other owners all over the show. So basically we are sign writers. So we do vehicle wraps and outdoor signage, and sort of a spin-off of that is we have a CNC router and a laser cutter here. So for the first build in New Zealand, for Anthony Wong's build, and for Nan's first build, which was a dual build over here, I CNC engraved them some alloy badges, some bespoke ones. So we did some for the hood emblems, some custom hood emblem ones, and also some build tags as well. So just basically RWB New Zealand 1, RWB New Zealand 2, and a spot for Nakaido to sign them and stuff. So, and that kind of flowed on to doing some of them for the guys in Australia, so Churn and Charles. And we've done badges for the guys over in Perth as well for KTech. And then it kind of just exploded from there, and had people from all around the world who'd seen the ones that I've done for everyone else. And then I've lost count how many I've done for Christian. We've done them for his chairs, done some custom heavenly ones. Sometimes he didn't kind of ask sometimes for them. I just made them and send him one over, and he's just like, yeah, that's cool, all right. And then and I think I did some RWB Turbo ones as well. Right through, even throughout Europe, I've sent them out through there, through Asia as well. So it's been an amazing privilege to be able to have some of my work, even Nakai's personal car in Canada, have some really cool RWB Canada badges. In fact, just as
that's
a
cool.
wee one for Aussie guys and stuff. So yeah, so that's sort of how a prerequisite. So I was there's obviously the private group chat that you're aware of. So I was sort of invited into that, and they kind of knew that I had a pending build. I've got a 964 that has had it's had a really bad accident. So it's basically having a whole new front stitched on it. So that's sort of been part of the hold up for my build has been that, and also a whole bit of personal stuff gone on. I went through a separation a couple of years ago, so and had to have a whole life kind of kintsugi style life reset, where everything kind of got broken, and I'm trying to glue it all back together with and try and make something more beautiful out of that. So that's also kind of a bit of symbolism for the car as well, with the car having, like, the car probably in its right, most people would have just written off the car and wrecked it. It's got it's a 964 tip. It's only done 78,000 kilometers, so not miles. The owner had a motorbike shop, didn't believe in insurance, hit some black ice one morning and did some pretty substantial damage to it. So it's got a whole heap of RS parts, RS brakes, RS suspension, the 110 litre touring tank, so the big RS touring tank in it as well, which will be an absolute fortune, because fuel over here is, you guys don't know how good you've got it for fuel. We're paying, at its peak, we were paying New Zealand around $2.30, $2.40 a litre for fuel.
Wow.
So fuel here is horrendously expensive. So yeah, to fill a 110 litre tank is going to be it's going to be fun.
I bet electric cars do pretty well there then, right?
We're probably a wee bit behind the 8 ball with that. You do see a few Teslas, but obviously, again, the cost of Teslas here are phenomenally more. Anything American car-wise that's an American brand is really expensive here. So quite often, though, people will bring in, import some of the American cars themselves. So obviously, because they've got to convert them to, we have the steering wheel on the other side of the road. We're the same as the British. So, and Japan. So it makes, and we've predominantly been, as a country, we've relied heavily on Japanese imports. So the import scene here, like we were getting Jap import cars really cheap before, obviously, all Americans' laws changed, and now everyone's just crying themselves to sleep here because now that Americans can import a lot of the Japanese cars, the price of them's gone through. It's just skyrocketed, eh? So everything's sort of, the American stuff here is quite sought after. You don't see the really big American trucks, which are really, really cool. So when we see them, we're like, oh, they're massive. You know, we don't have Tundras or F-150s, F-250s are really, really rare, like rocking horse poo. And you probably never see an F-350 or anything like that. So
well, you don't even see 350s very often here, and I live in like a truck state. 350 is almost like a semi truck. It's just too big. You know?
Ginormous, yeah. So the car scene here has predominantly always been Japanese based. I grew up with Japanese sort of cars and stuff, having had over 10 KP60 Starlets, which are the really early rear-wheel drive ones, which I don't think you guys got very much of. I think they're more Puerto Ricans, use them for drag cars and stuff, so it's probably the only reason you would have seen those. Mazda RX-3s, 808s, AA6s. I've had over 10 of those. But they were really cheap and a dime a dozen here. We actually get a really rare one. We had a New Zealand new AA6, and I think they only spec this spec, and they only spec them the same in, I think, in Ireland, and they had like a 240k speedo, and they go for stupid money. Like everyone over in Europe and Ireland are trying to buy all the New Zealand new ones up here, so they're $50,000 New Zealand for one of those, probably 30, 40, 50 now for a New Zealand new one. So just because they're a different spec and they had, they were completely different. But I had a lot of AEs, early other rotaries, Series 4 RX-7, Series 8 RX-7s. And now the car that I kind of, you have that, everyone has a wee iconic moment when they're a Porsche owner, when they were young, that moment that made them go, look back at it and go, that's why I want one, because I had this moment. And mine was, my parents had, before cell phones, a telephone answering service. So they would answer phone calls for doctors and plumbers and the power board when they had power faults. And a locum doctor turned up to pick up a beeper, a message pager. And he turned up in this G-bodied metallic brown Targa Porsche. And of course, we were all like, me and my brother were like, man, look at this is cool, And he's just like, hey, do you want to go for a ride in it? And like, arm behind the back, yeah, of course. So he took us for a ride in it, and I remember going in it, and I remember thinking, God, when Dad does 120, it doesn't feel as fast as this. But of course, the speedo was in miles. But yeah, and then that was sort of my kind of childhood iconic moment with a Porsche, and sort of you kind of subliminally kind of thought, well, hey, look, this is quite cool. And then I had the opportunity to flow on with my connection with Porsches was I was building a replica fire wagon, a Carina station wagon. It's the same as a really cool iconic one in Japan that's got a 3S Beams engine in it that's like knee high to the grasshopper, and it had some Japanese writing down the side, and I wanted to translate some Japanese writing. So I reached out to my friend Aaron, who you've interviewed, and got him to translate some stuff, and become really good friends with him, and got talking about going to Japan and saying how much I'd love to go to Japan. He's just like, well, I'm going, do you want to come? And I was just like, shut up and take my money. Yeah, I'm coming. So we went over there, and I'd already seen a little bit of the RWB stuff. And obviously, as per Aaron's story, he was extremely well connected with and had an amazing relationship with Nakai. So we were basically based out of HQ. We left our main bags there. We stayed in Kashiwa, which is only a 20-minute sort of train ride up the road. And we would just go back into the workshop every couple of days and switch out some clothes and drop off some stuff we'd bought. And extremely hospitable. Nojima-san drove us around. We got to meet Shinji as well and had dinner with Shinji. Shinji's an absolute amazing human being. Yeah, and got to spend some time with him, as well as Nakai was flying in and out. So this was 2013-ish. So Nakai wasn't necessarily like, he was doing a bit of overseas stuff, but it wasn't like as big as what it is now. So I think he'd just come back from Amsterdam, and we got to see a few of the builds getting built, because he was doing a lot of the builds still in HQ there. So we got to catch up with him. He was there a fair chunk of the time. So yeah, and it was just amazing to see. And I think Aaron always downplays it, but Aaron has an amazing connection with Nakai. Like, it's because he's been there, and he used to just hang out at the shop, and him and Luke Huxham used to do a lot of amazing videos. So some of my favorite RWB videos are Luke's early ones, the couple of the black and white ones, the e-garage one. I'm getting shivers even just talking about it, you know. But yeah, it was amazing. We even, when we were there, flipped open the laptop, and Aaron Skype called his parents, and here's Nakai and Aaron talking to Aaron's parents, and Nakai was really passionate about coming to New Zealand. He'd heard so much about New Zealand, and it was just Aaron's mission to get some builds here for him. And it took a wee bit of time, but they managed to get the dual build of Nan's and Anthony Wong's 2 cars. And Nakai was like so excited to come to New Zealand, and he just commented on how beautiful it is here. And so it was really amazing to see that whole journey, and see him finally come over here and enjoy being here so much. So
yeah, that's a lot of fun. That's cool. Yeah, it's crazy, and I think you can tell when you talk to Aaron and Churn how, like, it's not even about the cars anymore. And I think that's when you know about the connection, right? Like, they don't care. And I think that's a huge part of it. That's why it's so interesting. You know, obviously I get it. There are people who want to just buy a car that's done, and then there's people who want to build one. There are cars, to be fair, there are cars I would buy done just because I like them so much that I wouldn't want to make a replica. I would want the original one, right? Yeah. So I get that side of it. But if it were, you can build one or you can buy one, I'd build it every single time. Even I was just talking to Joe, who is also on the wait list in New York. He's building a black 993, and he does a YouTube series also. So
yeah,
maybe I'll leave it in the description below. I'm trying to decide, Joe. Anyway, so I was talking to Joe about it, you know, and it's funny. I said, you know, I think I'd rather take like just a rusted, beat up, missing pieces, whatever, 911 to build my own, and just build my own before I would buy a really nice built one.
So all the purists and haters shouldn't judge me, because this car's, you know, no one would want to buy it because of how big the accident was. So it's had an entire front stitch back on it. So it is a true Kintsugi thing in the sense of that most people would wreck it out. You know, a low case engine, all the RS suspension, the touring tank, you know, they'd do that. But I know it's just something special to me about having that story, and being able to say, hey, look, you know, this is this, and I'll keep this car till I die. Like, I've already had people try and buy it off me, and I was just like, because obviously through COVID, it's really affected my company here, like hugely affected, you know, myself financially and stuff. So it's a matter of like, this is what I get out of bed for in the morning. This is why I work for. I have beside my workplace, that's a genuine personalised plate in New Zealand. It's a proper legal plate. We can actually pay and have some other text written on the bottom. So I have one of these in a wee portacom that I am literally sleeping in inside my work, to remind myself why some weeks I'm doing 120-hour weeks. It's for this, and it's that emotional connection you kind of have to it. Like, it's having this has got me through some pretty dark times, you know. Like, I've had, my life's been completely flipped upside down, and I keep coming back to the whole Kintsugi kind of style of things, but it's just a matter of having something that's broken and then enjoying the process of fixing it and making it even more beautiful and having a meaningful story behind it. So it's not just about the cars, and that's the big thing that that I think a lot of people don't kind of get. There's a lot of us who, like, I work my absolute butt off. I have a small company. I don't have lots of money to throw around and do this. The rolling body owes me $27,000. It's, so it's the only way I've been able to do this. I owned half a 993 that I did have, a low case. It had 30,000 miles on it. It was an American import that had been converted from Yank drive to Kiwi drive, we'll call it. So the steering wheel had been moved around, but and we sold it and made a little bit of money on it, and that sort of helped fund my build and everything like that. So it was a really nice car, and I was considering trying to see if I could buy the other half of it out and build that, but I really wanted to do a backdated coupe. The coupe I've got's a non-sunroof model as well, which is pretty cool. It'll be a backdate and a kind of that RSR style Gulf blue, and I've done we had a 3D model drawn up about 4 or 5 years ago of the cherry blossoms, so Sakura wheels, like the old school ones with the big step lip. So I'm gonna look at having some custom wheels made and having
that same style,
kind of a homage, like a something to show the whole Japanese sort of thing. Whether or not they'll be the bright pink that they typically were, they come out, and we've only ever seen one set in a gold center in 5-spoke, because I mean obviously there are 5 stud, the typical wheels were 4, so we're basing it on roughly that sort of style. So that'll be kind of the wheel choice. Hey, maybe I'll do 2 centers and have a cherry blossom pink one, or just the golds. But that's sort of.
Well, you could even do like the orange. I mean, the gold will probably look good, but if you're doing Gulf blue, then you could do that Gulf livery orange that they do on all of the Gulf motor.
Yeah.
Like that
I probably don't want it to have, because obviously the only other sort of one in that color is Christian's convertible. So I'll probably steer a little bit clear from the full orange, but there's some other pictures of the and I've got there's a couple of, and I'll probably send it to you so you can put it up. There's a really iconic photo of an RS in Gulf blue with the black decals. Given mine's a 964, all the trim bits are typically black, so it's a case of you can do a different windscreen insert, or windscreen rubber to put the chrome insert in, and then polish everything else up. But I think I'll just keep everything, just for financial reasons, probably just keep it all the black. But then to have some black livery, I've got a few kind of really cool CNC badge ideas to sort of do with that. I've got a really cool version of Nakai's signature that comes down vertically, so we might look at doing that, and sort of do some other wee bespoke CNC alloy parts for when we do the build. But the builds, as I say, and the thought of, and the whole thing for me is so emotional to me, because it's just, as I say, it's just something that's just getting me through a whole heap of some whole turmoil from my life, and a whole of stuff that's just been thrown at me. So it's a case of having that as something to get out of bed for in the morning and enjoy and have, and have till I die, really. So
I think that this last year we've all had it didn't matter if you were having a good time or not this last year. Everybody had it retracted just a little bit. Whatever our normal was going to be last year, I would say just subtract like 15-20% or more, right? Financially, physically, mentally, just everything. And then let's say that you had unexpected things going on in your life that were going to happen regardless of COVID, it just multiplies it. And so
it does. Yeah.
So I totally understand it, for me too. Financially, this last year has been just crazy, right? Compared to any other. Everything you thought you could count on, you couldn't count on. People you thought you could count on, you can't count on them. Even getting your raw welt kit built in time, you can't count on it, right? Even getting the kit out of the country, So
Yeah.
it's just I don't know. I think it's good though that you can be optimistic and use the tough time to kind of push yourself and improve and just look for ways, right? There's something there's a positive in everything is kind of how I look at it. So if I was having like if my work slowed down, right, and I wasn't making, wasn't selling like normal, just use the time to train myself and look for skills that I didn't have and look for ways that I can improve so that when things get better again, it's like I'm ready to go, right? And
Yeah, upskill.
so I try and look at it really in a positive light. Like, man, I got so much cool stuff done this year. I didn't get to travel like I normally would. My car doesn't have everything I wanted. Um, I'm still figuring out how I'm doing my build. I'm still trying to, and I'm in a pretty similar situation probably to you in a lot of ways. But I get it. It's like, it's nice to have this maybe is like that light at the end of the tunnel, something that you're reaching for, something that's pushing you, and helping you kind of strive to move through. So think of, right now you're just in a cocoon, Lance. Like this is just,
Yeah, pretty much.
you're just getting ready for what's next. And so I think that, no, it's good. And, it's given me time to do the YouTube thing. It's given me time to get to
Which I've
know.
thoroughly enjoyed, by the way. I always look forward to when they come out, and both the interviewing of the other people, and like, even though I've known them for, for some of them for 4 or 5 years and the likes, it's kind of good to see another side of them and have people talk about their builds and hear other people's passion and stories. And because you look at big TV shows, some of the reality TV shows like West Coast, the Chopper program with the father and son, like people wanted to see the story behind them as much as they wanted to see the bikes, even though it was turmolic and there was that sort of stuff. People want to see the human element of everything. And I think these videos are amazing in the sense that you do get to get that human element. It's not just here's the car, it's the story behind the car and the story about the family. I mean, you can tell people till they're black and blue and explain to them about the whole RW family till the cows come home, but no one, a lot of people truly just don't get it. Like, it's incredible, it's phenomenal. Like, there's so many people reach out to do stuff for other people. Like, I've been to some of the builds in Australia, and I've seen builds in Japan, and the family aspect of it it's really hard to put into words. And like, I was trying to sit down trying to think how I'd actually try and put it into words and stuff, but it's absolutely incredible and phenomenal, just that bond that all the owners have and how they reach out and help each other. And it is a true family. We all share a passion, really. So
I think it's funny too, because if you're on the outside looking in at this, it's like, it looks like a pretty tough group, right? Like, everybody's always wearing black and like sunglasses and cool jeans. They've got these mean looking cars. No, yeah, right. I mean, I'm wearing black, you're wearing black, right?
Yeah.
You do have a heart, but still.
Huge thanks for Sid. Come through a couple of hands, but yeah, has to say, bit biased, but that is one of my favorite t-shirts. It looks pretty cool. It's pretty cleverly done. So
yeah.
And it's the weird thing, like, people collect t-shirts. Like, I think I had a count up the other day, and everyone exchanged, and that's the whole family thing. They're like, hey, look, I did some badges for RWB Tampa, and like, he sent over a really cool skateboard and a couple of t-shirts, and then, but my most favorite badge I think I did was actually for RWB Texas. So guys from Tampa were like, hey, I want to surprise him at his build with a personalized badge. Can you do us up an RWB badge? So it's in the shape of Texas. It's got the Porsche emblem in the background, and it's got RWB through it. I made them up, and yeah, if you've ever seen the build video for Texas, the name sort of eludes me just for this moment, but but it was like, he surprised him with these badges at the build, and he was just absolutely blown away. And they just that whole connection, that whole family thing. Here's a little old guy in New Zealand sending some badges to a guy in Tampa who's taking them all the way to Texas to give to a guy in Texas. So I feel, I'm not religious in any way or sense, but for lack of a better word, I feel really blessed to be able to do these wee things for these people and have a part of what I do and some of my creativity be on my cars. I mean, some of my badges are on Nakai's personal car, so again, getting goosebumps again, sort of thinking about it. But it's a really cool kind of thing that I've been really privileged to be able to do.
So. Well, I think that's the thing, right? Like, there's no room for ego, and I think that maybe that's what I like about these videos is I think that this is exposing pretty well that we're pretty ego free, right? Like, we're here to learn about each other, we're here to help each other. We're here to collaborate and create something, and it's more like, I think Sid probably said it best in the very first interview, and it's more about this kind of like the misfit toys or something, where everybody's just a little bit different, but we share something so in common that we've kind of come together as a group, and it gels really well because we have our differences, but the differences aren't what separate us. It's the passion for this one common cause that brings everybody together. And so it's really, like I'm sure that there's drama, and I'm sure that there's ego between people. Like with cars, everyone's human. But it seems like for the most part, everyone who I've interacted with so far, it doesn't matter what, wake of life you're in. It doesn't matter where you live, what your financial status is.
There's no one's judgmental or race, religion, sexuality, none of it. None of it's there's no issues with that internally. I mean, on one of the back of the t-shirts I have, it's just like, we are the crazy few, and it's kind of quite true. Like, we have this real weird passion. People hate us and like, what are you doing cutting up a 964? Well, if you own one, be happy, because it's probably putting the value of yours up. So just don't worry about what we're doing. Just let us be, and let sleeping dogs lie. And we all have our own, their own things, like and our own side hustles, everything like that. You got guys that sell koi fish. I breed munchkin cats. There's all this. Everyone's got their own kind of
idiosyncrasies.
Yeah,
I agree with that. So
some of us cut up minis and put them in our basement.
Oh,
which was awesome, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, it's probably not even worth opening up a can with me. I'm probably the strangest of everybody as far as just my weird stuff. So I pretty much am always doing weird stuff, but
that's good. Normal's boring, so
it keeps me pretty occupied, I guess. So the car's slowly coming back to life right now.
Yep.
The 964, you're kind of building that.
Yeah, so it's
in a perfect world, how soon do you think you're ready for a build?
I'm still going to be a wee way off, to be fair, because I'm still waiting. So it's unfortunately, it's probably been a couple of years since they were sort of getting on to actually doing the chassis repairs on it. So it's all stitched together now. It's ready to be put on the chassis plant. Part of the biggest part of the holdup was me going through a separation. So
sure.
Obviously, I was at the point pre-separation where I'd done some wheels and deals, and I had I'd sold this other Porsche, and I had some money there, and I imported a couple of cars and sold them. So I was pretty much in the position then to be able to pull the trigger once the mechanical repairs were done on it. Then, unfortunately, as I said, going through separation,
sure.
I sort of said to the guys, "Hey, look, can you just put a bit of a hold on it, because I need to figure out what I'm doing financially with everything, dealing with selling a house we'd built and still owning a company together, and then even more so recently, post-COVID, buying my ex out of the company that I own and run. So everything's sort of been quite topsy-turvy.
Yeah.
So it's, in all honesty, once I haven't also wanted to order the kit because I haven't necessarily had a car in one piece, and I've still got some pieces and I need to kind of go through and find. It's worse for me because it's had an accident. We kind of almost need to get the car back up, rolling, running, almost try and get it road legal. I guess the best thing for me is I don't have a front bumper. I don't have a rear bumper. I don't have a bonnet. So I mean, the backdate option was the perfect thing for me because I don't have any of those original parts because they were all damaged in the initial crash. So, the rear hatch was okay, and I've since sold it off because I'm going to go to a duck bill. So I've got a lot of other parts to go through and check and inspect and get the engine back in. So I deliberately will be holding off within some reason, just making sure that's all kosher because I need to make sure the thing's actually running. I don't want to then, like you said in some of the other previous videos, you kind of want to make sure everything's kind of good. You know, it's either you do the build and then go, I'm going to finish some stuff later. But to me, I think the whole idea of it is once it's here, being able to go for a drive in it and have Nakai drive it and do that sort of stuff as well. So
that's how I feel about it too, just so you know. You know, for me it's been the same. Get the car running perfectly.
Yeah.
And I just want it running perfectly so when Nakai comes, and I'm going to put on any parts that need to be on it for Nakai to be here, right?
Yeah.
Suspension, have the wheels, the suspension, that kind of stuff done. Because when he comes, even if we go slow, I want to go for a drive, right?
Yeah.
I want to go for a drive in it. I don't care if it's 4 or 5 or 600 horsepower when he comes. That stuff comes down later. And the other thing is, I don't want my car to be like instant gratification, right? I want my car to be more of a journey for me. And so while I am working on it a lot, in fact, I've spent a lot of time, especially these last couple of months since it's been cold and I've needed to get it fixed. I've spent a lot of time doing that, but at the same time, I don't want it just to be done because the sooner it's done, the sooner you start looking at other things. So I want this to be a car where if it takes me 20 years to say, yeah, I'm done, fine. It takes me 20 years to say, yeah, I'm done. But I want to do it the right way each step of the way and really be excited about what it is when it's done and have it be. And it seems to me like you're looking at yours the same way. So I'm not trying to put pressure on you by asking that.
No, you're fine.
It's more just
and a lot of people understand my situation as well. Like, given it has been, this whole roller coaster of a build for me, having this anticipation of going, I'm at this point and being really close to being able to then to get it done, and then obviously having some huge curveballs thrown my way, which is, hey, I'm going to be really honest here. It hurts. You're like, of course you want to have something, and then you're at this position, and you kind of take this massive step back, and then you've got to do it again. But I think that's part of the whole journey and the whole story of it. And like when it's finally done, I know I'm going to be so emotional. I know it's going to mean the absolute world to me, and I know it's going to mean the world to a lot of my friends that I know are going to be part of the build. I've got an amazing painter friend that's just itching to get some paint on this thing. Spangle, Frank, Francis, he's got a million names, but he's incredible. I've got another one of my best friends in the world, Ross, that I know's doesn't probably know it yet, but going to help me sort out a lot of it, and even some of the guys and through some of the extended family through RWB Australia and stuff like that. So as well as local guys and stuff. So no, it's the whole journey, and as you say, like mine's a Tiptronic. So again, like yourself, I'll get it built, and then something down the track is if I do want to, I can maybe try and look at getting a 6-speed or a 5-speed two-wheel drive box and going down that path and doing that. But the main thing for me is get it running, and then I can do some you can do that, some of the other tweaks. But yeah, I know one thing that is probably good that I'm going to try and make sure, and again for yourself, is going through and adjusting, just making sure all the, because I know I've seen on some of the other builds when they've actually gone to adjust some of the arms have seized up. So a good thing to consider is if there is any parts that you think, hey, look, we're going to have to maybe adjust these. It might be a bit different with your chassis or not, but if there is anything that Nakai will need to adjust, I think it's kind of, if you do want to have a drive on the day, then I'm going to make sure I go through and make sure those parts can be adjusted backwards and forwards and aren't seized, because I know they, in one particular build, I think they had to sort of do a bit of a repair on a certain parts or something like that. So but yeah, it's just a matter of
I sure hope not to. I agree with you. Yeah.
yeah. So but that's the whole idea of this whole community and all these other people. It's sort of like you can just say, hey, look, these are the wee things, or this is how you fix that, and everyone's just so supportive and so helpful and just so awesome, you know. So I'll hopefully be able to get away with running the stock suspension on mine, because mine's got RS suspension and all the RS arms. Everything's sort of, I think it's about 50 mil lower, so I'm led to believe, for the RS suspension in a 964 versus the standard 964. So I think from talking to Nakai, I should be able to get away with the RS suspension, because a couple of them have had some new Bilstein inserts put in them. So so yeah, fingers crossed that'll all be kind of good. But it's got all the adjustable sway bars and stuff in it. So I got really lucky with mine, with having a whole heap of good bits in the black RS brakes. And
yeah,
so yeah,
it's
a dream. It's an ideal build car, given what it's gone through. And as I say, then the purists aren't going to sit down and go nuts at me. It's just like, well,
I think you'll like it more. No, I think you'll like it more. You'll have gone through it. You'll know it. You know, I think that it's more enjoyable. It is more enjoyable, I think, starting the way that you're starting and going through it this way, because when you're done, you're going to feel like, wow, I know every nook and cranny, every bolt, every screw, every washer, every line. You're going to know everything on it. So, no, I think it's pretty cool. It's, you know, obviously, I hope that you are, you know, filming as much as you can while you build. And just
so once it's past this initial stage, then we'll be filming a bit more of that.
Take pictures.
Yeah, that's the big thing, and have that whole side of it. Then yeah, it's kind of to be able to tell that story, and it's even kind of cool what you're doing, and even, you know, what we're both doing here is telling part of the story before it's even built. You know, and having that whole, hey, this is all the little bits, and you'll have a lot of video footage of you going through fixing all the stuff, and that, you know, you've kind of got a prequel to the build. There's a lot of people who are invested in seeing your build because they've got this awesome story before the build, fixing all the little issues, and you know, interviewing other people and learning from everyone, and yeah, it's really cool.
Thank you. I really do appreciate that. Yeah, for me, I just want to dispel the magic. I think that there is magic to it, you know, and there is some kind of, there's some romance and there's some mystery and mystique around what it is. But I think a lot of the time,
mine's probably going to be the longest build ever, because it was like, from when I've actually first got the car to actually to, you know, getting it done. But it doesn't, even if you're getting a university degree, if it takes you 12 years to get a university degree, it doesn't say on the university degree how long it took you to get. You know, if you have to stop for whatever reason, then, you know, it doesn't say. So you just keep plodding along, and when it's done, it's done. And it's all the more rewarding if you've had some struggles and some battles to be able to get through that. And
yeah, but I think, but you've been a major contributor though to the group and the family too. So again, it's not about the car, you know. If based on the amount of badge making and things I've heard about you from everyone else in the group, you know, I almost thought I'd meet you and you'd have 5 cars. You know, you become a major part of the group. People really count on you. They rely on you, and you've become a really integral part of the way that this works, and a great example of what it means to be a member of that RWB family, right? So I think that that's the biggest kind of takeaway from meeting you and learning about you. It's not, is the car going to take a long time? It's not any of this other stuff. It's just you're a good person that's trying to make sure that everyone else enjoys theirs. And then once everybody else is enjoying theirs and you feel like you can take a breath, then you can enjoy yours and build yours. But I think that you're a good example of somebody who's putting everybody else's stuff ahead of yours too. And I think that that's really commendable. So
Oh, thank you for that.
yeah.
And I do hope that when I do get around to my build that we don't have COVID restrictions, because I know there's a lot of people who would absolutely love to come to New Zealand and experience it over here. So it would be really awesome to be able to, have everyone, or those that can come over and experience New Zealand, and some Kiwi hospitality as well, and some Kiwi food. Because that's, again, at the build, that's a huge part of it, like experiencing different cultures and having different foods. And Nakai was so elated when he heard that we were cooking a whole lamb for him, like had a lamb on a spit, and he was happy as a pig and shit.
Do you cook everything in the ground?
So the traditional Maori, they call it a hangi. Yes, so there's it's not. I mean, culturally for the Maoris, who are the indigenous people here, they have, for those that don't know, they heat up some rocks, and then they bury the rocks in the ground and have the food in above the rocks, and they cook it that way, and it's incredible food. It's not often it's normally sort of a special occasion sort of thing, or some guys will, some families will be like, righto, we're going to have a hangi this weekend. So, but yeah, that is it is something that is quite a traditional. I think they may have even had some of that in one of the builds. I think they may have actually organised a hangi for one of the meals for the dual build for Wong and Nan's car. So And Anthony Wong's car, as you may well know, has gone through a couple of. It was originally grey, and then it was blue, and it was the Rothmans one. And then Nan's since had a second build done, so one for each of his sons, and had the second backdate convertible done. And then there's three builds in New Zealand, and then there's one car that was an import. There was a car that was a Japanese car that got brought into the country. So there's four cars in New Zealand, all in the North Island. Mm-hmm. And then hopefully I'm number 5. So
nice.
In the South Island here. So
I'll probably cater McDonald's for mine.
Subway or McDonald's catering. So but no, again, that is a big part of it is that Anthony Wong has a plethora of amazing chicken, like deep fried chicken restaurants, and cooks phenomenal fried chicken. So
what's that company or the restaurant called?
Winner.
Oh yeah.
It is the best, hands down, the best chicken shop name you could probably ever have, and it's like, that's brilliant. So they've just franchised it here in New Zealand, so which is good because I want some down here. So Anthony, if you're watching, hurry up and get some to the South Island. So we have another big New Zealand-based franchise. It's called Burger Fuel as well. So that's sort of tied in with them. So as a sister parent company of that. So which is really, really good food as well. So
that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
You don't even know. You don't even have to have chicken in the name of it, and people instantly know that's what it is. Just winner.
Are you working on any badges or anything right now? I know
yours
builds are kind of slowed down, so that's why I'm curious.
I've had an absolute tumult again, real crazy 48 hours, but I sort of was trying to secretly see if I could buzz yours out before this interview, but I'm pretty sure it didn't happen.
No.
But no, I'm gonna cut yours out. So what I'll do is at the end of this video, you can I'll send you some video footage of your badge getting machined out.
Oh, that'd be cool. That'd be really cool to put in this, because this will go up next week. It's in case anybody's watching, and you're now watching from the future to the past. It is Saturday. John Siebel's video is going up tomorrow, and then Sunday.
John is an incredibly talented human being. John, if you're listening, I kneel in the shed of your excellence. We're not worthy, John. We're not worthy.
That's how I felt the whole time.
And his car, oh my God, like, I love his car. There's here's the thing, like there's so many different styles and tastes, and there's so many of them that you love. You're like, oh my god, I love this one. Oh my god, I love this one. Oh my god, I love this one. You know, and they're each for kind of each different reasons and stuff like that. So, but yeah, like so many of them you like for different reasons. You know, you hear Christian's V8 one start up, you just get goosebumps, and you know, yeah, it's insane. And like, yeah, there's just, as I said, there's just so many beautiful cars, and they're all, you know, you don't often see one and you go, that's completely not my cup of tea, you know.
No, they're all pretty good, huh?
Yeah. And again, I was quite lucky to have seen some of the really early ones in Japan. So I got to see Spearmint Rhino in its original kind of livery and sense. I got to see the Hooters one, which has obviously been repainted and rebranded and stuff like that. So there was a lot of the cars, the early Japanese cars, I was actually really privileged to kind of see. They had a VW Beetle, like the modern version of the VW Beetle. They had one of those in there that had a Ra Welk banner on it, was painted matte black in the shop when I was over there. And I'll send you some photos of the visits, and you can sort of see. I think I've got a really good one of Aaron and Nakai Skyping
his family,
and Nakai just with this biggest grin on his face and stuff.
Cool.
You know, he's an amazing human being for those that have kind of met him, and he's a master. You know, like that whole traditional Japanese mastering. Like I grow bonsai as well, and there's a brilliant National Geographic documentary on this bonsai guy, and he explains the whole Japanese idealism of being a master. And it's just like, you're just doing the same thing every day and getting incrementally better till the day you die. And that's just that Japanese
mastery.
That's it. It's just like, you know, you just keep doing, and it's the whole 50 pounds of clay thing. You give two groups 50 pounds of clay, you give one group 50 pounds of clay and go make the best pot you can, and then you give another group of 50 pounds of clay and go make as many pots as you can. And guaranteed, the group of people that make 50 pots will make a better pot, because they just keep doing it, and they incrementally get better and better and better. And that's why you blink and it's done. He just knows. One of the cars he did when we were at, he looks at the car and he said, this car's been in an accident. This corner's out by 5 mil. And it's just like, he's just done that many of them. He just knows. He can just tell. He's just like, hey, look, it's just out. It's just been tweaked slightly. You know, it's just like, and only someone that's done as many of them as he has will know that stuff. Like, and that's, people don't get that. Like, because he's just done the same thing over and over again. That's that whole traditional Japanese mentality to it. My trip to Japan was one of the best moments of my life, being over there. I got to meet Gary as well.
Everybody knows I know Gary now, huh?
Keeps
coming up.
So he, again, an absolute amazing human being. He loves cats as well, so he's
does he?
He's got a black cat, Koroniko. He's, and of course he used to do all the mechanic work. So before, Nakai was predominantly doing everything overseas. All the cars would get built there, and Gary would do all the automotive stuff. So I got to meet Gary, and he's an amazing human being. And we actually met a couple of other Kiwis who were over there at the same time. So Petty Kelly and Taryn Kelly, who formerly did some work for Speed Hunters and a lot of other automotive magazines. And they had organised at the same time we were there at the RWB garage to do an article, and took some photos of the Hooters Porsche. So that was really, really cool to be part of that kind of photo shoot and be part of that kind of moment in time as well. So, we were over there for about 3.5 weeks, based out of Kashiwa and based out of the HQ, and it was, just some of the best moments of my life. I was really pushing and really wanted to go back to Japan, and I do hope that I can get back to Japan to be part of some of the other activities and stuff over there, and see some of the builds and go see some of the amazing people. I met Noji, my son, who obviously does all the painting there. Shinji, if you're watching, I can't wait to see you again. Yeah, so I've even made Shinji a bit of stuff, some of the Good Hills Speed stickers for him that he gives out, some of his cars. I've done some of those for him as well as some 3D Good Hills Speeds in the latest article with his workshop, with his RS RWV. Yeah, in the garage, you'll see a whole heap of gold letters, 3D letters, saying Good Hills Speed. So they're all from me and sent over to him. Again, amazing human being, just like pretty much most of the other RWV guys. You know. Christian's just the most amazing, supportive guy. Yeah, I love him to bits.
Yeah, we're trying to get Christian to find some time to do this too. He told me he'd do this, but we just he and John have been super busy. So
just permanently have a thumb emoji over his face.
Yeah, maybe I'll have him wear a mask.
But well, no, again, amazing human being. Like, he's been really supportive of me and been there for me during times when stuff hasn't been so good for me. He's had some really good words of wisdom, and again, just an amazing soul on that man. So yeah, again, like most of the family are just really incredible human beings, really. So
well, that's really awesome. I really appreciate you taking time to do this. Really excited to see the badges, obviously. I may have to ask you to do a couple of other things for me as we get closer, and
I'd love to. That's part of the fun thing for me, is just having that bond and just being able to do that. We've done a lot of leather dyes as well for people who want to emboss or embossed logos into the seats if they're doing upholstery, and that way we've done some of that stuff as well.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, we plaques for the dash and even some of the other wee dash parts. And yeah, again, we're only limited by your imagination when you've got some CNC gear and some laser cutting gear to be able to do these really, really cool things, really. So
well, that's awesome. If anybody's watching this and you're in southern New Zealand, go see Lance and have him do all your stuff.
Hey, thanks very much. This is
awesome. I'm really happy that you finally found time to do it. You've been a hard one to catch too, so
so apologies. It's sort of when you're kind of self-employed and running around like a headless chicken, and trying to run a company and try and sort out work vehicles and staff.
Hey, it makes sense.
So hey, really appreciate it. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you. I'll talk to you soon, and I'll be chatting with you everywhere that I can chat with you, probably.
Yeah. All right. I'm always available.
All right. Good luck. Have a great night. I appreciate you doing this.
Thanks.
I'll talk to you soon. All right.
Bye.
Bye.